Hello, this is Brian Carnahan, Executive Director of the CSWMFT Board. I'm talking today with Paula Broom, CSWMFT's Audit Coordinator. In addition to conducting hundreds of continuing education audits annually, Paula is also the board's webmaster. She's also actively involved in creating podcasts such as this one. Welcome, Paula. One question we are often asked is, how is someone selected for an audit?
Every month, over 1,000 licensees renew. There are 3 ways a licensee can be selected for audit. First, the board uses a random number generator which pulls a percentage of licensees from those who recently renewed. The board has no control over who is selected, nor can we exclude a licensee from this selection. The second way to be audited is to renew late. All late renewals are audited. This is because since 2012, when I started as the CE Audit Coordinator, the failure rate remains high. Lastly, you can be audited by a board staff member if there are concerns regarding your license.
What is the purpose of the audit?
The audit has more than just one purpose. Licensees are required by law to complete continuing education as a requirement of their 2-year renewal. The audit is a way for the board to confirm those continuing education requirements are being met. The audit also checks to see if the licensee is practicing within the state of Ohio, using the name they were licensed with. The audit also checks and updates contact information such as mailing address, phone, and email address. As the CE Audit Coordinator, I help licensees to correct any errors found during the audit process. For example, many Ohio counselors believe the board accepts NBCC-approved programs. During the audit, I'm able to inform them that NBCC-approved programs are not accepted for Ohio counselor renewal.
Can you go over the basic steps in an audit?
An audit is pulled the first part of every month. When the email audits are received, they are logged in and an email confirmation is sent to the licensee. When an audit is received by U.S. mail, it is logged in, but no confirmation is sent. Everyone who is audited is given an extra 14 business days after the due date to complete their audit. At the end of the extra 14 days, follow-up letters are sent out to any licensees who audit has not been received. Those licensees who have not completed their audit by the follow-up letter deadline will have their files sent to the board's investigation department.
What do you say to a licensee who has been selected for an audit in back-to-back renewal periods?
When I review audits, I see licensees who've been audited several times. I also see licensees who have been licensed since the early 90s and are just now being audited for the first time. I don't know how or why this happens. We are sympathetic to the burden of back-to-back audits. In 2017, we'll be moving to a new statewide system that we hope will allow us to accept continuing education certificates during the renewal process, which will allow us to audit without contacting the licensee.
What are some mistakes you see licensees making when they respond to the audit?
The largest group is from those renewing with non-approved hours. All hours are to be approved or post-approved prior to renewal of the license. Those who renew with non-approved hours will need to request audit post-program approval or complete approved hours. They receive a caution letter for renewing with non-approved hours. If they receive a second caution letter in another audit, their file will be sent to the board's investigation department. The second group is from those renewing with less than 30 hours. When a licensee renews their license, they are asked, have you completed, as of today, 30 hours? Answering yes without having completed your CEUs is a misdemeanor under Ohio law. All hours are to be completed prior to renewal, even if the licensee is renewing early. Any missing hours need to be completed in order to close the audit. Licensees renewing with less than 30 hours will need to pay the failed audit fee, $50 to $100. If in the next renewal they're audited, and if they receive another failed audit fee, their file will be sent to the board's investigation department. These mistakes could be avoided if the licensee reviewed their certificates prior to renewal.
What resources are available to help licensees with the audit?
I may be the best resource, but there is also the board's website. Under the CE Audit tab, licensees can find the instructions on how to complete the audit form as well as how to complete the audit post-program approval form. The caution letter is explained as well as the failed audit fee. Contact me by email to get answers to issues unique to your audit.
What can happen if a licensee does not respond?
If there is no response to the audit, the licensee can lose their license. The audit is not based on active license practice. The audit is to verify continuing education. Even if the licensee is hospitalized, out of the country, married and at a new address, or dealing with extenuating circumstances, if there is no response to the audit, the license will be revoked. After 4 attempts to reach the licensee have failed, the board will begin the process to revoke the license. This is why it is so important to update the board on any name or address changes. The only exception to not completing an audit is active duty military. Otherwise, if you do not want to complete the audit, you can surrender your license.
Do you have any suggestions for listeners?
I suggest licensees gather and review all their certificates prior to renewal. If you find non-approved hours or missing certificates, please don't renew until you have received board approval or completed additional hours. Licensees have 2 years in which to complete their continuing education. During the 2 years, it's easy to misplace some or all certificates. I suggest licensees find a way, an online solution such as Box.com or Dropbox, to store their attendance certificates. Another option is to scan them and save them to an email folder. This way, you can access them from any computer anywhere in the world. A word of caution: don't save your CE certificates on your computer because computers can crash. Don't rely on your employer to track and store your CE certificates. Often these hours are not board approved, and if you should leave your job for whatever reason, you may no longer have access to your certificates. Ultimately, holding on to certificates is the licensee's responsibility. Review your certificates carefully before accepting them. Certificates missing the licensee's name, date of completion, board approval, signature of the instructor, number of clock hours earned, title of the program, or the sponsoring agency's name will not be counted during an audit.
Why does the audit process take so long?
First, let me say the audit does not hold up the renewal of a license. When the licensee renews their license, the license is updated to the next renewal period, the next business day. This can be verified by the board's online license verification. Over a year ago, in January 2015, the board voted to discontinue the wallet card. Licensees can print verification of their license from the board's website. It is considered a primary source of verification and is updated daily by the board. Whenever possible, I try to process audits within 60 days of receipt.
Thanks, Paula, and thanks for listening. We hope you found this conversation helpful. If you'd like to suggest a topic, please feel free to contact me at brian.carnahan@cswb.ohio.gov.